What's going on, CFC? If you're asking what or who is CFC, that's you, the viewer, the Clusterfuck Coalition. Me, I am CNCF, and for those of you saying, I already know what that means. I already know. I'm Crow's Nest Clusterfuck, and today I'll be reviewing Pirates Mutiny, Barnacles, and Flogging. The profile for these, respectively, are Blueberry Custard, which is Barnacles, and Strawberry Custard, which is Flogging. I'll be doing the Barnacles review using my Voltrove 35mm version 2 limited edition on my Dovepo Odin DNA 250. And what I'm rocking under the hood are those Rebel Coils flat series stags. 4mm inner diameter, and they are 0.35 resistance. And normally I'd be running them on my Steam Crate Titan version 1.5, but this fucker took a shit, and now it's no more than a glorified Addy stand. And so I'm using my Odin. And for those of you, if you're wondering, for anyone that's using an Odin and a 35mm Addy, there is just a minor bit of overhang. And normally, like, my OCD would be fucked with and I wouldn't be using it at all, but it's so minor to me on this one that it doesn't really matter. And the build I'm using is a 0.35 and an 8.4 volts, that's 202 watts. And the max setting on this is 200 watts, and I'm using watt boost, so it's no big deal. But anyway, Barnacles. Oh yeah, it's gonna be waking up. Yeah. I want to add that Rebels Coils does have a website. It's www.rebelzcoils.com. That's www.rebelscoils.com. And I'm also going to post a link to their group down below, as well as to a link to the K-9 Coils group. And I want to add that these coils I'll also be reviewing later on are, these are... I have them written down, hang on. .2837 4mm stags, and they are 0.4 resistance, and I'll be vaping those at 176 watts, 0.5 watts. Alright, Barnacles. As you can see, like, there's no, these aren't lacking in vapor production, and I'm gonna add, like, from personal experience, they're not lacking in flavor either. With that being said, excuse me, these coils right here, like I said, luckily the build I'm using is, I'm able to run it on this mod, and I'm only lacking those 2 watts, so it's not that big of a deal. With that being said, the blueberries here, are more like wild pick blueberries. Like, they are sweet but not overly sweet, and they have a good bit of tartness in there as well. And it's like they've just been mixed into the custard. The custard itself is, like, you know, light and pudding-like, and the vanilla bean's rich, decadent, while also still remaining light as well. And I think what really stands out here in this profile is the blueberries, for sure. Like, but the blueberries are excellent. Like I said, 35mm version 2 limited edition, Rebels Coils flat series tags, 4mm diameter, 0.35 resistance, 200 watts, watt boost. Yeah. That one's Barnacles. Excuse me, y'all, I'm feeling a bit under the weather. I would edit that out, but I really don't know how to edit my videos, I'm sorry. But, like, I still wanted to post a review it for you guys. It's a momentous occasion. I'll get to that later. These coils right here were sent to me for the purposes of this review. As for all my Voltroves, I use the postless decks, the 30mm version 2 limited edition, 40mm version 2 in-game, and 35mm version 2 limited edition. I use the postless decks on all those. And yeah. With that being said, these are 27, 36. Yeah, no, 28, 37 stags, 3.5 millimeter inner diameter. I feel like the perfect inner diameter for the postal sticks on the 30 millimeter version 2 is a 3.5 millimeter in diameter, whereas the 35 millimeter version 2 limited edition is a 4.5, and as for the 41 millimeter version 2 in game, it's a 5.5. You could go up to a 4, a 5, and a 6 respectively, but that'd take us like all the entire deck space, which I'm also cool with. But as for me, I like that bit more of an area draw. Consider that a shots fired to the Captain's Quarters group, too. Like I said, these Coils are sent to me for purposes of review, and they are for the 30mm version 2 limited edition, which I'll also be reviewing as well. So let me put this back together, and I'll let these Coils speak for themselves. I'm going to bump this down from 200 watts to 176.5. 8.4 volts with a 0.4 ohm on series would be 176.4. But I'm just going to, and like, you know, like if you're going to estimate and like round down, it'd be 176. But I just want to get that as close to even if that's possible as I can. Next, I'll be doing this review using Flogging, strawberry custard. I'm putting that 35mm on that glorified ID stand over there. I don't know what the fuck happened to that steam crave. Go to settings, atomizer. All right. Juice flow is off. And I'm going to start off from the top down. What I like most about the 30mm version 2 LE is the fact that it is an upgrade from the 35mm over there, which that one has that pressure release valve kind of whenever you open the cap, whereas this one's just free spinning. I only use the extension chimney in the. Sorry, my hair's messed up. Like that really fucking matters, but it does to me. I dye it blue. You think I like blueberries? As you can see, it's wicking. I only use the extension chimney in like this cock ring right here, as I'm going to refer to it, on the 30mm, because this 35mm is sufficient enough over here, like where it's got enough capacity that I don't really need to add the extender. And as for the end game, that's enough as it is. As like, I mean, it's overkill, really, but I love it, you know. Okay. 176.5, 0.4. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my review of Whirlpool, where I said that was one of the quintessential strawberry and cream vapes. So is Flogging. Whirlpool like is kind of like everything like is more like overly, like, you know, overly sweetened, and like the flavors just kind of pop. Like where in this one, like they're more subtle, and I'm more of that vapor who prefers the subtlety aspect of things. So and upon first impression, I'd say it's like a Nesquik with a strawberry, like like a strawberry Nesquik custard, for example. And when I described the custard, I'm just going to really go back to a carbon copy of what I said in Barnacles. So referred to the vanilla custard I said like I described in Barnacles, whenever I described Flogging. But as for the strawberries themselves, they are sweet with that extra burst, like biting into like strawberries and like these good extra burst of sweetness, like even though they're already sweet themselves, and like it's like they've been mixed in with the like with the custard, like so that rich technical middle bean custard along with the strawberries is just on point, man. It's just on point. That'd be a good thumbnail. In my previous thumbnails, like I've been YouTube just using them. And before continuing, I want to say make sure you guys follow Gasol Blowing Smoke, battery image for battery safety, and make sure you study your Ohm's law. Like there's Ohm's law calculators you can look up. Yeah. Um, Recently, probably like January 15th, we lost a good member of the vaping community. His name was Jay Hardesty. I know him as Vaping Jay. And his line was phenomenal, man. Like, my favorite was Amish Paradise. It was a date pudding. I never had, as with guava, I never had a date, but like what I had in vape form was just stellar and it was on point. It was a favorite in the line. Sadly, his line eventually shut down, but he's still an advocate in the community, like as he always was whenever he was operating his line. But he became even more involved in advocacy as well as operating his shop from the home front. And like these bans didn't stop him. He was just a bad motherfucker. But unfortunately, we lost him here recently, and like those guys that are saying I'm all right, keep an eye on them because it really is important. It does mean something, and I not only don't want to honor him, but I want to honor Jesse James Del Corpo and Mick Duval as well, because like I said, whenever I say stay fucking mad, I'm always rocking that, Team Madcraft. All right, I'm gonna take a few more vapes. All right, what's love to you on? Stay fucking mad.